Breaking news.
Breaking news, a federal judge considers imposing a gag order in the case against longtime Trump ally Roger Stone, saying this is a criminal proceeding and not a public relations campaign. The judge is warning Stone not to treat the run-up to a trial like a book tour. Stone has already been camera shy since his arrest on charges stemming from the Mueller investigation. I should say hasn't been camera shy, but tonight there may be some new developments. Also, President Trump says there's a good chance he'll soon declare a national emergency to build a border wall and drops a big hint about an announcement tied to his State of the Union address. I'll speak with Republican Congressman Chris Stewart of the Intelligence Committee, and our correspondents and analysts are standing by with full coverage. Let's begin with the breaking news out of today's court hearing for longtime Trump associate Roger Stone facing multiple charges arising from the Mueller investigation. The federal judge overseeing the case had a very tough warning for Stone. Let's bring in our senior White House correspondent, Pamela Brown, and our senior justice correspondent, Evan Perez. Evan, what was the warning to Stone from this judge?
Well, there was a stern warning, Wolf. It went something like this. This is a criminal proceeding, not a public relations campaign. And that was the warning from Amy Berman Jackson, the judge, who is going to be overseeing Roger Stone's trial on these 7 counts. That includes obstruction of justice and witness tampering. As you know, Roger Stone has been on something of a publicity tour, doing a lot of public interviews, and also reaching out to friends and family who are there to support him. We know that more than a dozen of Roger Stone's friends have come in for interviews as part of this investigation with the Robert Mueller investigation. And so one of the warnings that the judge gave to Roger Stone today, Wolf, was to make sure that he would avoid any contact with people who might be called as witnesses in this case. And that includes no emails, no text messages, Instagram posts, WhatsApp messages, and even using intermediaries to try to contact people who might become witnesses in this trial. So the judge made sure that she asked Roger Stone if he understood that, and he says, yes, Your Honor. Now, Wolf, you know that this judge has a history of being very stern with people in her courtroom, and I think certainly Roger Stone's publicity tour, his media interviews in the last few days, certainly was something that she was gonna take notice of.
Yeah, she's a very, very tough judge. We all know that. So, Pamela, could Roger Stone actually be barred from speaking about the case as he awaits trial?
Absolutely, and this is something that Roger Stone will likely not like, given how much he's been out there in the public view, talking to the media since the indictment just about a week ago. In fact, the judge in this case, Judge Amy Jackson, talked about how he has been out there publicly and that his public statements could taint a jury pool. And so she said during today's hearing that she is considering a gag order, and she used some very tough language, very stern, when she said this during the hearing. She warned him not to argue his case on, quote, the talk show circuit or treat this case like a book tour. Also, she said this is a criminal proceeding and not a public relations campaign. Now, we know from the Paul Manafort case, she was the same judge and she ordered a gag order in that case. So it will not be a surprise at all if she decides to do the same with Roger Stone.
Yeah, she's clearly concerned about witness tampering as well. Right. And that's why she is saying you can't speak to any other potential witnesses in this case.
Right, exactly, as Evan just said.
Right, and I think one of the things that happens, Wolf, in these cases is that the prosecutors view any public statements you make as not only usable for them to try to use against you in court, but also as an attempt perhaps to get other witnesses to line up their stories with yours. So that is something that prosecutors would be very concerned about, and certainly this judge was calling attention to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say she made very clear that any inconsistencies with what he has said publicly would be entered in as evidence.
Right, exactly.
It's a very serious situation. The President Trump, he's denying that he's the one, Roger Stone, that Mueller was talking about in the Roger Stone indictment. The president is speaking out about all of this.
That's right. He told the New York Times something that we've heard before, which is that he has never spoken to Roger Stone about WikiLeaks, that it was not him that was being referred to in the indictment. If you remember, there was a mention that there was a there was somebody from the campaign, senior person in the campaign, who had been directed to reach out to Roger Stone about the trove of emails that WikiLeaks was in possession of. Donald Trump, the the president last night telling the New York Times that it is not him, adamantly saying that it is definitely not him. Look, we don't know who it is. We still have not been able to identify that person. If it's not the president, then who is it?
Yeah, the president, though saying he's a good guy, kept saying about Roger Stone, he's a good guy. I've known him for a long time.
Right.
Evan, Pamela.
They have a long history.
Thank you.